think you guys should be familiar with murder drones by now because most of the content on my channel consists of murder drones. But here's the thing, if you don't know what murder drones is, well, it's basically a show where humans create a bunch of these worker robots to mine planets, which I don't understand why they would do that in the first place. Guess it wasn't a good idea to mine all those planets after all, because the humans can't take care of their own planet, and Earth explodes because its core collapses, and now Earth is an Arctic wasteland where all the humans are dead, and only the robots that the humans built are still alive because they're robots. Because there are no humans left, the robots are able to do whatever they want because no one's there to order them, and the space company that made the robots are somehow still alive, I don't know how, and you expect a big company like this to deal with this in an orderly and decisive manner, but the way they reacted was more like this. As you can see, the company isn't too happy, so they send these disassembly drones, also known as murder drones, to kill the worker drones, and that scares the worker drones, so they lock themselves from the outside world, and that's how you get the show Murder Drones. And if you still want to know more, then basically in episode 1, our protagonist, whose name is Uzi, does not like the mass scale death that the murder drones are causing and wants to kill them. She manages to be able to get outside, and by getting a key component to her gun, she's able to shoot off a murder drone's head. The murder drone just regenerates his head though, but he can only see the outline of things for some reason, so he can't tell that Uzi is a worker drone, so he and Uzi have a decent conversation where he's like, "Hi, I'm N, and I definitely don't get abused by my female friends," and Uzi is like, and then gets his vision back. It's like, yo, you have a point. So they proceed to obliterate one of the murder drones, and is also able to tie up and restrain the second murder drone. And after that, they're hailed as heroes. But Uzi is still pissed at her dad, so she banishes herself and leaves. Episode 2 starts off with a flashback that shows that N used to be a bartender, and he's apparently extremely scared of long-haired women. After N wakes up from his flashback, he has to separate V, the murder drone that he and Uzi captured in episode 1, and Uzi because Uzi and V get along about as well as Lil Nas X and Andrew Tate, which obviously do not mix well at all. Here are two plot characters. There's this furry girl that's annoying, and there's this Russian girl that has psychic powers. Uzi and N have to go back to the worker drone camp because basically there's this worker drone called Thad who says that, hey, you remember that murderer drone you killed earlier? Well, it sort of crawled away, so Uzi and N go back and discover some information. Basically, there's this program called the Absolute Solver, and it's something that has the same symbol as Uzi's eye when she goes psycho mode, and it probably also is in relation to how N grew his head back in episode 1. The Absolute Solver proceeds to jump the group and then grab Thad by his leg and drag him away. Uzi and N manage to get Thad back, and they also manage to destroy the Absolute Solver's makeshift body thanks to Uzi's gun exploding in its face and N managing to slice off most of its tentacles. However, there's a big strain on N and Uzi's relationship because the Absolute Solver created these like holograms which made Uzi think her dad died and that N is evil. So let's just say that the ending for this episode and in Uzi's relationship is a lot like this. Okay, we're moving on to episode 3. That Russian girl's name is Doll. I should have given you guys that earlier. And that furry girl's name is Lizzie. And in the beginning of the episode, Doll is shown to manipulate a lot of things and kills a random worker drone for some reason. Meanwhile, Uzi's dad is ruining his daughter's entire life by basically saying, hey, put on this small dress and also go to the biggest social event we have, prom, even though you hate social events, and go with the three people you hate the most, me, this furry girl, and this Russian girl. And let's just say that Uzi's mood goes from okay to this. N still has some questions about his past, so he goes to V for answers. But the thing about murder drones is that they kill worker drones to get the worker drone blood, aka oil. And because V doesn't have any oil, she is very hungry, so she decapitates N while he's talking, and then she proceeds to escape and goes to the worker drone base, I guess to go and kill all the worker drones for their oil. While Uzi is getting ready for prom, she discovers that the furry girl is gonna let in V at prom, and also discovers some bloody mirrors, realizing she's probably gonna die if she doesn't escape. So seeing a ventilation shaft, she manages to use the bloody mirrors and literally cracks a 90 using them to escape out the ventilation shaft. I don't even know how this is possible since some of the mirrors are taller than her entire body, so how did she get them up there without like going back down to get them? But anyway, she manages to escape, and while running through the snow, she bumps into N, who, if you haven't noticed by now, has some nice drip and also regrew his head and is going to stop V because he knows she's probably going to kill a bunch of worker drones, and realizing that they have the same motive, they forgive each other and go to stop V. Anyway, turns out V actually manipulated the furry girl into being her friend so she can go to the prom to kill everyone. But turns out the furry girl actually is gonna deem her prom queen, and V doesn't kill everyone because she actually likes the idea of being prom queen. But here's the thing, see, the reason the Russian girl and a furry girl killed all those people was so when there was no one left, only V would be the prom queen, and while she's on stage, the Russian girl can kill her since V basically killed her family when she was young. N and Uzi barge in with the intent on stopping V, but the Russian girl stabs V before attacking and killing a bunch of more people, and after N and Uzi realize that the Russian girl is the bigger elephant in the room, they decide to stop the Russian girl instead. They manage to defeat the Russian girl and also get her secret wristband that leads to her room. They get into the Russian girl's room and realize that she's been eating a bunch of dead corpses for the past few days. The Russian girl herself suddenly appears and has revived herself, and she manages to pull out the bullet that killed her and shoots Uzi, but Uzi catches it with her special eye, which the Russian girl implies is actually a bad thing, and then she disappears. Here are two new plot characters, the murder drone that got killed in episode 1 and a new British person called Tessa. That is the entire history of murder drones until the next episode in 10 days.
Dad, take care. I realize you were just like me trying to make history. The violence breeds violence.